Map on top. Okay, and we're underway. Southern side now. Here we have some of the older skyscrapers. Well, they're all around, really. I think it was grown more organically as a neighborhood. Manhattan was. It's not like the old-time European cities where you have some parts of the city are older and some other more recent. New York was built more was all around constructed along a series, a span of years, and not one place at a time. This is more or less what I'm trying to say. I'm not the best tourist guide in this context. Should be able to read the name of the buildings here, I guess. Like the big black one. I should know the name of this. Let me see. No, it's too tiny. I cannot read the map. I should make the map bigger, which I will now. Well, I will try. Let me think. To make the map bigger, I need this one window, hang away from the buildings anyway, and go with a bigger map. Bottom. The bottom is now bigger. Let's try again. Not gonna need this. Be gone. But I'm gonna need this one. A chat. Okay. Going for a second attempt. Should really change the weather. It's not the best sightseeing climate. It's looking like the opening scenes of Jurassic Park. I mean, the rain on the windshield is kind of moody. Yeah, because there are some drifts of rain. but it's not the best for looking around. And so we now should be able to tell that this is well, considering I'm like hitting the damn thing, it apparently lacks a name in the map. It only says One World Observatory. Is this the One World Trade Center? Shouldn't it be on the other side? I suck at New York. At knowing New York. We're overflying Ground Zero, yeah. These are the two reflection pools. Yes, okay, I'm an ignoramus. This is the Ground Zero and that's the One World Trade Center. I thought it was more bluer, more of a blue shade of color. As I said, I'm not the most knowledgeable about New York. Yeah, it's the One World Trade Center. Let's go with a better weather. Okay, changing the weather now. Just 2 clicks away. If I can find the stupid mouse pointer that I keep losing around, where the heck? Here you have it. And check off the live weather. Oh, this is more clear. Ah, now it's completely recognizable. Yeah, it should have been earlier as well. Older buildings, shorter buildings. It's kind of crowded, to say the least. I think my microphone is open, right? Yeah, not because it wasn't earlier, I was speaking alone. That thing in the middle of the water, that's kind of weird. I researched it some times ago. It's the air intake for the underwater tunnel that runs over to the other side. I wish I knew the name of the tunnel. Perhaps in this, yeah, it's the Holland Tunnel. In this the map helps. Here we have a little sport field whose name apparently should be... Let me see if the map assists us. I watched a video on YouTube on this. They actually use it all the time. Well, it figures. It's Pier 40. They kept the name of the different piers for this zone of town. Of course, New York was an important port of call for many of the ships traversing the Atlantic to then go upward towards the Delaware River and into the United States territory. And yeah, I suppose this is one of the sides of the city where you should have many newer developments. I think they built a lot in this section of Manhattan lately. Big building, what's this? This is a big one. Well, not a very tall one. Like in a normal city, in a city in Europe, this would be probably the bigger building of the entire town. Or where should I say city? Lot of technology on top of the roof. Are these all air conditioned? Why does it need so many? Let's try not to crash into the damn thing and maybe check the name. It's 8th Avenue, Atlantis Stage 2. Well, this map is not the best for a touristic tour of the city. It often lacks the name of the landmarks. It's more about the roads, I guess. It's taken from Google Maps. Or it should be. There's a church here, apparently. Let me see it. In this sea of buildings, in this sea of concrete, it could be kind of difficult. Let me see. Now I passed it. More to the left. The church. More to the left again. Is this one with the spire? Yes, a very modern church. Oh, I'm going to crash like this, wait. It's a kind of modern church. It's the Church of Saint Francis Xavier. Apparently a French saint. Well, performance is not the best over New York. It figures. I'm doing about, it's around 30-20 FPS. We might try and limit it further, because to have a stable frame rate is always preferable in VR. But that would require to open the options for Steam VR. Okay, I know how to do it. Wait. I know how to do it. I can do like this. It's on the second desktop. I can keep an eye. I shouldn't crash. I think I shouldn't. It's kind of risky though. And limit the frame to 22 frames with 11 prediction. I guess the translation would be. No, this improves matters. Of course, it's stable now. You see, motion smoothing is doing most of the heavy lifting anyway. So it's going to look good. It's fluid from the VR headset point of view, and it doesn't stutter as much. That's something you will always. It's never truly hand off in this game, because this is probably the heavier game you can play in VR presently. So if you, well, it is heavy depending on where you fly. If you fly in the middle of nowhere, you can leave it on automatic or raise it to like 60 frames per second. Not really. It's not really achievable to do more than that. But when you are above big cities, here's the Empire, missing the giant ape thing, climbing it. No, as I was saying, and well, you lower it when you're flying over New York, of course. Empire State Building, this one is lacking an helipad due to the giant ass antenna on top of it. It's very distinctive though, it's one of the symbols of the entire United States, at least from all over the pond here. Can I say over the pond as an Italian? I think it's a British expression, but we are friends of the British, of course. It's written down. It's marked on the bottom right of the stream with the two flags. And yeah, well, the textures kind of suck, but well, you have the entire world in this game now, so it makes sense. You cannot expect better textures. Empire State Building, yeah. Masterpiece of Art Deco architecture. Used to be the tallest building in the world for a long time, I think. Well, the history of the New York skyscrapers is one where everyone is always trying to one-up the others, so it's constantly changing which building is the tallest one, but that one was the tallest for a long time. Chrysler building over there, that's difficult to misunderstand, and it's indeed the Chrysler. Another very iconic figure of the skyline. Let me see what we have on the house. I would like to go and check out the famous triangular building, the one from the John Wick series of movies, no? What was his name? The one that is shaped like an iron implement for clothes. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure. I don't remember the name, but I do absolutely remember the building. I might have to use Google for finding it, so maybe in the second part of our exploration. Imagine working every day in one of these attics. You look out of the window, you see this. It's truly difficult to imagine. For me, it's not like in our country we have all these tall buildings anywhere. Well, maybe something up in the north, but still, it doesn't really compare. Okay, it's kind of windy here in real life as well. It's moving the window, no problem there. And perhaps I should pay more attention. Ooh, this is a big one. And a pretty interesting step for the roof. What is this? The map sucks. Once again, the map sucks, and well, I cannot check the map that much because now I'm flying in the middle of the buildings. We're at East 45th Street. It doesn't say the name. It doesn't say the name of the building, so the map sucks. Now we know. It's better for Europe, I guess. You have all the landmarks are marked. Yeah, you just have too many of them. It probably would be confusing to put them front and center in the map. Big cluster of semi-tall buildings. That's another famous bridge, I guess. I won't say the name because I could get it wrong. Well, here the rendering kind of sucks. It really should be see-through. You have its single blocky thing, and also apparently cars are flying over the bridge. As I said again, it's a bit of quantity over quality, this game. You have so many places to see that in the end not all are so detailed. This is the Bright, or like Queensboro Bridge. It's the Queensboro Bridge. I should put the map up there. Works better, yeah. I'm trying to look down to the ground after all, so makes sense. Big industrial thing here. It looks like a power center. What's its name? Well, a place where you produce electricity, whatever the name is. Let me check. And of course, again, it's unnamed on the map. I should try and check if I have a different layer for the map. Let me make this attempt. Stam and terrain, still nothing. Stam and toner. Stam and water. Carto dark. No, one is worse than the other. Each one is progressively worse. It's a substation anyway. Raunis and substation. What's that thing? It's another industrial chimney. No, because if it was a building, it would be very like a room per floor. No, it's a chimney. Well, there are pretty thin buildings in New York. One on that side of the park, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Yes, I say yes because I want to sound like I know where I'm heading. In fact, I'm not. I'm just digging around over New York. At least in a simulator, you can do it. No damage. No damage, I assumed. That red triangular ceiling is kind of cute. This is a blackish thing. Another one I'd like to see is the radiator building. The one that looks like, well, like a radiator. I'm heating a radiator. I wrote an article about that one, but I'm not sure about the location. That's the thing. I do know the places, but I don't know where they are, so I don't really know the places. We're going to Google them later, maybe with a different vehicle. The problem with this is the moment you let go of the stick, the helicopter goes wherever, and you crash into a building, and well, it's not desirable. So to use Google, we need a different vehicle, probably the drone-like thing, or maybe even the Warthog from Halo, which flies like a drone in this game for some reason. This meaning that you can actually let go of the stick. I don't know if the other helicopter actually has an autopilot. This one certainly doesn't. No, it doesn't. And let me see. Without the map, I'm kind of useless in finding actually interesting places. But it's all interesting. It is freaking New York. The tall tin building is that one, I guess. This is the very expensive, recently built skyscraper about which they wrote all kind of articles saying that it leaks water. It's kind of disappointing. Oh, what's happening? It's the big stutter. Okay. This is the big stutter. I don't know the origin of this. 20 minutes into my sessions, every time VR stutter like this. 2 seconds. Now after about a couple of minutes, it will do a smaller one, and then I'm good. I'm good for the session. I don't know why it happens. Everything in VR is kind of mysterious. And probably this is not the building I was speaking about, because it doesn't have this shape. It's not the disappointingly built, not very trustworthy skyscraper thing. But I think it's on this side, so it's one of these. It's one of these indeed. Besides, it doesn't have a truly iconic name. It's named like the road and civic address, so it would be difficult to Google too. This one, I think, is an older one. It looks like it. Here's the second starter. Okay, second starter. I was worried it might crash, but it doesn't. It never crashes, luckily. It just does like that. And now, this is maybe the most amazing thing in New York, to have this amazing green space all in the middle, Now, I live in Rome, no? The capital of Italy. We have a lot of green spaces, but they're all around. And they're situated around the city. You don't have a single huge park in the middle. And in a place like this, where ground has a value that is extremely high, to buy room, you have to pay out of the nose, truly. And yet they kept the park like it was. It's an important heritage of the city. It's also the setting of a famous novel. The novel is Catcher in the Rye. Well, it's not the setting, more like where one of its most famous scenes takes place. This is another old-time church. It's tiny compared to the other building. We might try and see the name of this. If I zoom on the map, the... everything goes by in a flash, maybe because we're flying. The park? Damn, I don't know. Well, it's not the name of a church. That's an interesting little plaza. It looks almost like an heliport. I'm very tempted to go and land. I mean, one helicopter tour of the city is complete without a landing or two. This is a pretty easy to fly helicopter. I mean, as helicopters go. It's not an easy to fly thing in general, but I should be able to land it more or less. Not where I intended. Okay, now we are where I intended. And yeah, it's a tiny little plaza shaped in a weird way. And get off the helicopter in quite similar. Just use the drone view and you get in the ground, you walk around. It's like GTA in a way. You can check out. I could go and check out the church. I wonder if the map follows me when I do this. No, unfortunately, this sucks. Yeah, you can see that, well, the city geometry is kind of weird also. They really went overboard with the number of trees. Everything looks like it's out of Jurassic Park. Here you have the little church. The textures are very, very bad. Okay, let's go on. It's not the best thing to look too much into. I mean, it is not meant for that. It's a flight simulator, not a walking simulator. Still, it's cool, it's cute that you can do it if you feel like it. In some locations, it's better than others. Probably nature works better. You have because there you have the textures are simpler and much of the geometry is generated. Whereas this is comparatively very accurate, and not accurate enough for walking around in. That one is interesting. It looks like a hive town from what I'm all stepped like that. But of course, I no longer even expect to be able of reading the building's name. That's the Esplanade. Ah, the Esplanade. Wait a sec. I think I know where I am. Henry Hudson Parkway. Riverside Drive. I'm not sure. Well, let's keep going with the tour. Might as well not dwell in my ignorance. Probably going to fly in another city too before the end of the stream. If you want, you may suggest a place. Otherwise, I'll pick one. Well, but I said the only greenery is in the Central Park. Actually, here it seems to be pretty green. I don't know how realistic that actually is. But well, within the context of the game, you have some trees. Oh, I said I thought I knew where it was because I thought we were around the Hudson Yards. The part where they built all the new buildings, but perhaps they were down back where I started. Now I left it behind. I think this is the big lake in Central Park, the one quoted in Catcher in the Rye, where the ducks used to return every year. And it is the place of a realization of the protagonist, when he thinks about his life. But I read the book in high school, as many people do, I think, in English-speaking countries, but not many here in Italy. It was kind of a project during our English classes. We do study English, of course, in Italy. And I read the book. And well, that is all the story. What's these bunkers? Do they play golf in Central Park? They should. They should. Maybe they're just for making little kids build sand castles. Maybe by taking inspiration from everything around them. I think the trees are really too many. You can't even see what the heck is this. They are supposed to be sport field. Maybe tennis. Yeah, it's for playing tennis. But I don't think they're really covered by trees. They would be far too much in shade if it were the case. I know, but these have a name. Paradoxically, yeah, it's the Central Park Tennis Center. Who would have thought so? Amazing. The Central Park Tennis Center. I wish I could keep speaking, but I actually know nothing about this part of the city. Okay. No, but the map betrayed me anyway. I thought the map would be more informative. Still too many trees, way too many trees. Trees everywhere. Imagine the spiders jumping out of the branches into the second story window just because they cannot keep the trees at bay. Yeah, that's New York. Like after the tragedy, after destruction of the world, when you had zombies everywhere. It's a New York from The Last of Us, basically. That was a good game, a good remake though. Kind of like the remake, despite the terrible performance of the PC version. If it were in VR, we'd be streaming that now, but of course, no high-profile game can be in VR in 2020, completely unthinkable. Except maybe for Resident Evil, and that's only on the PS5, so I'm not going to buy a PS5 plus PSVR 2 just to play one game. Cathedral of St. John the Divine, and finally we actually can have the name of a place. This is enormous. This is a very big church. I think I will go to Paris later. Maybe we can compare this to Notre Dame, because I don't think it's much smaller. Look at this. Look at this. Well, of course it would be more recent. Even as the big, I don't know the English name, the big circular window in front that ancient cathedrals used to have, and apparently also modern cathedrals in New York do have. Suitably pointy, like all cathedrals tend to be. And yeah, let's fly over. Let's see what we have here. Oh, a dome. More tennis fields. No, this is not for tennis. This is actually a formal garden. With, I guess Americans people would call that a rotunda when you have these domes. Let me see. This is an interesting place anyway. The Low Memorial Library. It's the library. Ah, I didn't know that New York had such a cool looking library. It's pretty big. If you can check the proportions compared to the helicopter, it will look even bigger once we land, I guess. I'm already halfway, I might as well do it. Should I land on top of the dome? It would be dangerous. No. Let's do Nottingham Tower. If I crash now, that would ruin the entire session. And ooh, yeah, I always do this. When I get almost to the ground, I notice that I'm going down too fast and I get scared. I'm not the best helicopter pilot. It's very much a learned skill. Okay, helicopters are kind of hard to fly, but we already spoke about it. And now I notice that yeah, I didn't move my point of view, but we did move it. And once again, the texture is absolutely abysmal. If you try to go into, let's go into. Wow, check the New York Library. It's amazing. You can always feel. Look at the roots of the city. Okay, I got teleported on top of the library. And yeah, that's the garden, and that's the trees are completely, basically the trees are into the house and they completely envelop the house, but I don't want to think about the terrible life of the people inside. Let's take off again. Interesting architecture. Well, at least its context, it is indeed interesting to have something so classical looking in a place like New York. It wasn't so crowded initially. Probably that's pretty old. I guess it would be. This is less heavy built. This is a part of Manhattan, and apparently, yeah, it has shorter, I mean lower, no, what's the contrary? Not tall, not so tall building. That's the idea that I was trying to express. You, you always tend to notice the red things. And that's something that probably it stood out in the satellite image, and the game plays the AI that actually has created the game's geometry. It has placed it in evidence, and the result is strikes the eye. Overcharge. Another one without a name. That's pretty colorful too. Some billboards. You had two certainties about simulation games back in the day. You played the driving games, you tested it in Monte Carlo. For flight simulators it was this. Especially back then, you rarely had a city that was made better, that was constructed in a more realistic way than New York. It is certainly fascinating. This looks industrial. Is that a pool? That's the Jackie Robinson pool. It's the Jackie Robinson pool. Interesting. Oh, the cool thing about simulation gaming is that if you have an interest about something, Jackie Robinson pool, you can actually Google it, and it's a way to discover the world. It's something I've done during the course of the past year, no? I've been doing it a lot. You fly over a place that it seems interesting to you in this game. You keep Googling the other window, and it tends to lead to very interesting discoveries. Where are videos? Probably YouTube would have been better to try and see this place. The Jackie Robinson pool. But yeah, it's a pool. Not very surprising. Jackie Robinson history playlist. Baseball spring training. Well, that's the idea basically. Then, of course, you have to pick a good place to try and search. Check the name of that bridge. Because I know that everything I actually name during this stream will stick to my mind. And again, it might lead to interesting discoveries. That's the Macom's Dam Bridge. Dam Bridge? Does it function as a dam? An interesting question that could merit further research. I probably would immediately if I weren't streaming, but like I said, let's keep to the flying. Let's stick to flying around this thing. The research will come later. Morris Jumal Mansion. Completely invisible in the middle of the trees. Too many trees. Too many trees. It should be a song. Like Too Many Cooks, no? the sketch. of so many ways to die. The memes are taking the place of the collective music conscience by now. What's this little Big Bang look-alike thing? Does it have a watch face on it? No, apparently. It's the High Bridge Water Tower. Ah, it's a water tower. It's a water tower, so New York has one. Now, these are pretty interesting buildings. It's something I've written about. They're pretty widespread in the US. Well, also elsewhere, but in the US they tend to have this distinctive shape. Water towers are not just reservoirs for water, as you might think. They actually serve a very useful function. That is to regulate the pressure of the entire system, the water pumping structures of the city. So basically, when you add too much pressure, it goes into there, and it allows for avoiding the overflowing of water. Yeah, you get the idea. I got myself in trouble. This is kind of difficult for me to explain in English. And here's a big one. This is not the Brooklyn Bridge. I might have mistaken it for it. Let's be honest here. But the Brooklyn Bridge we passed over earlier. So yeah, Trans-Manhattan Expressway. Look at the precision with which they render the interchange here, all the system with the roads. I remember the enthusiasm I had when I was like a kid playing Syncopter and seeing the roads you built in 3D. This is completely different. You have the real road here, much finer detail. I sure hope I'm not missing comments. So yeah, the name of the bridge. The name of the bridge... oh, look at that. This kind of sucks. It looks like the bridge has been raised. It's like a portcullis, basically. Is the portcullis the bridge? No, it's the drawbridge. It looks like a drawbridge. There's some mistake, yeah. Mistakes were made. But yeah, no, it kind of works for the purpose of flying above it. But of course, we are flying like around it. So it's the George Washington Bridge. Lower level. No idea route. Lower level, but there is that. Once again, it's a single piece, no see-through, very disappointing. The bridges tend to be in this game. They were better in the older flight sim. And also you cannot fly under them, not only when they're blocky like that. Even if you see it seems to be possible to fly under the bridge, you try, it will be a bad surprise. Very annoying. I wonder if I'm actually flying in the correct direction, because I wanted to end this first chapter landing close to the Liberty Statue. I think it's on this side, but now that I'm thinking better, no, it cannot be. I'm actually still following Manhattan. I think I went over to Long Island at a certain point. No, that's not the case. I'm kind of lost if you cannot guess it. No, this is indeed Manhattan. Let me try and understand. But the Liberty Statue was on the other side. That's the center, so to speak, of Manhattan. It's not a problem, we can teleport around. Let's finish the tour of this part, and then I might teleport to where I wanted to be, and perhaps we check out this place with a different vehicle. Or even better, a different place, now that I think about it. Why limit ourselves? I wonder how the stream is looking like. Oh well, but I can just click. Oh no, it's good, it's good. Yeah, no, because it's stabilized now. I installed a plugin that actually stabilizes VR video. A couple of years ago, when I used to stream all the time, it was kind of my dream I think I wanted most from a software point of view. It's annoying to stream in VR because you have this jerky image where it can make people actually sick to watch it, and this hurts. It doesn't completely solve the matter, no, it doesn't. It introduces also a bit of delay. Could be interesting to experiment with the settings, because you have some settings. Filter, yeah, it's named video stabilizer, and you can crop more or less of the image, and you can choose the algorithm. Let's try homography just as an experiment, and maybe make it a bit stronger. 20 is the maximum. Delay like this is 700 milliseconds. It's not that bad. Yeah, now is it stabilizing now? Well, it's not bad. Less than this is not realistic, I think. It's going to be a bit jerky. But looking at through my eyes, after all, not the movement of the head translates directly to the image. It's always going to be a bit jerky. This is a surprisingly boring part of the city, and I don't see many buildings that are distinctive or interesting, at least not in the game. Probably in real life it would be different. So yeah, the place where I wanted to be is on the other side instead. Go and teleport there. To be careful when teleporting. It's very easy to telefrag into a building, and well, you're going to lose, of course. That's the reason I tend to teleport. That was the window. As I said, it's windy. I tend to teleport over the water. And yeah, the big statue is there. It's not that big compared to other big statues that we have today, but it is very iconic. They even placed a couple boats here. Looks like a dredge. What's it dredging in the middle of the Hudson River? I think the water is supposed to be pretty deep here. No tour of New York is complete without this. I cannot see it very well because motion smoothing is kind of acting up, I guess due to the helicopter's rudder. Yeah, it tends to make it go out of whack. But there is definitely something missing. My god, that's atrocious. Where the heck is the... What is this? Perhaps I should try and raise details. I don't know. We're completely missing the freaking island. No, this cannot stand. Let me see. So, general option. There is no island. I cannot even land. Terrain level of detail. Let's raise the terrain level of detail, and maybe, as you see, I keep details pretty low. It's not feasible to play this game in VR with higher details. Now, hoping it doesn't crash. Fingers crossed. Let's see if this gives us actually an island under. No, it doesn't. This is even more crazy than having the city completely overrun by trees. And the biggest disappointment of them all, Lady Liberty is apparently now floating in the middle of the Hudson River. Even the flagpole is. What the fuck? What the heck is this? Okay, it remains iconic. You can avoid looking down below. And that's the torch. You know, you can actually... The window again. You know, you can actually get into the torch of the Statue of Liberty. There's a little ladder thing inside the arm that you can climb. It's a very specific tour that is available only to a limited quantity of people today. Used to be that many more could go, and nowadays it's rare. But it is a very cool way to look, also a very scary way, because when you are above in that thing, you look through a small window that is situated just underneath the flame, if I'm not mistaken. I've seen the videos on YouTube. Go Google it, it's amazing. Most of the height of the statue comes from the plinth, actually. Yeah, that's what I meant when I said it's not that big compared to other big statues of the present day. The statue itself, it isn't. Also, the shape is it's very smart. All these big and flowing roads make for an easier withstanding structure. And yeah, we at the best we can land here, I guess. It's kind of dangerous actually, because you can hit the plinth of the statue with the blade of the chopper. But okay, thankfully. No, it's so sensitive. I don't like where this is going, but yeah, it worked. Well, of course, it doesn't touch the ground, but it did land, and now we can climb the Statue of Liberty. This is something we should be able to do in Assassin's Creed eventually. I don't think we have an Assassin's Creed set in New York now. They made us do it in Paris. We could climb the Tour Eiffel in Paris. It was in like a fast forward section, a flash forward, I meant. Yeah, you climb inside the arm and get to the torch, and this is more or less the kind of view you can expect, realistically rendered in 3D thanks to the miracle of VR. There's a plane overflying. I think that's a real flight, SWA 398. It's not a plane. But it's really, it's a shame. It doesn't have an island anymore. Okay, floating. Little problem of the game. Yeah. Let's see if I can land on top of a ship. I said that would be the last landing for New York, but let's make another one. On top of a boat. This one is way too narrow. That one is more probably better for the purpose. The game is stuttering badly now. I don't know why. It ran better in the middle of all the skyscrapers. Now it sucks. But also, yeah, I unlocked the frame rate. No, I did lock the frame rate further, so it's weird. We're changing city very soon, so it's not a problem. What do you say? Does it seem landable? Maybe. Depending on whether the game actually lets me do it. It all remains to be demonstrated. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm using a bit of external views. It's kind of complicated, so it hurts quite a bit, and yeah, realistically I would have already crashed, but yeah, it doesn't matter because the ship has no substance whatsoever, and this puts my plan into perspective. Yeah, it's not doable in the game. Let's go somewhere else. Paris it is. I said I would change vehicle. I would like something fast for a change. Let's see what I can pick. But not too fast. Also, yesterday with the Halo Warthog, it was kind of disappointing. The autopilot continually made the goddamn thing crash. So, going with something fast, but not fast science fiction. These are not very fast planes. The extra could be fun. If I can find it. This one. From the Charles de Gaulle airport.
Bell Tower Extra Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra ready at runway 26 right, straight out departure.
De Gaulle Airport. Check that. French pronunciation much better than mine, of course. Predictably. Does this plane even have flaps? I don't think it does. This is an acrobatic kind of thing. Very extreme plane. Oh, once again, performance is abysmal. Might be because of all these planes. Many of them computer generated, but not all. Computer generated, I mean, they were generated according to the actual flights taking off from the Charles de Gaulle airport. But this one, for instance, is a player. Let's go find somewhere else or I'm gonna be sick. It's stuttering all over. Which way is the center of the city? Okay, that was the direction. Stuttering badly, what is this? Where was again? Okay, these are the options. Let me see. Remove the prediction. It's not necessarily helpful. Let's see. Could have helped. Wow, never seen so many planes in a flight simulator airfield. Pretty interesting, to tell you the truth. It looks like the beginning of an EL to Sturmovik match. It is also a very well rendered airport. Okay, he wants me to confirm that I'm in space, and apparently I cannot do it with the button. Yeah, you gotta click it. It depends on how it feels. Sometimes you can push the button window again, sometimes you cannot. Straight to the center of the city now. The city of lights. This is just the periphery, there isn't much to see or say. That's some road. How many lanes? 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know. I'm not sure because the game puts. I think he puts too many cars side to side. Like these two could never drive like this. They would take the same line basically. Now they're merging into the tracks, so yeah, let's not look too closely into that once again. These are clearly, they are AI generated, it doesn't make sense. What is this building supposed to be? The moment you leave the center, it's like this, but still it looks better compared to the older flight sims. Lot of parking. Gothic cloth. I wish it told you the distance of a player. It tells you the altitude instead, but who cares about the altitude ultimately, no? See, I have a notification on Facebook. Maybe it's a comment. Let me check. Hey, Mark Lee, thank you for the like and welcome to the stream. Not many people stream this game. I think the problem is mainly from a technical point of view, especially in VR, it takes a hefty PC to do it. And I would have told you until a few minutes ago that this PC could actually make it, but now it's stuttering like crazy. It has been for some time. Wish I knew why. If I look at the graph down below in FPS VR, it almost looks like it's stuttering. The pink lines are telling me that there is some technical hurdle that it's not going through. It's not just due to performance. I hope it goes away. From time to time it's kind of good, but it depends. It gets worse. Perhaps I could try to disable motion smoothing, re-enable it, maybe throttling go to automatic. Let's see what happens. Now it's running the game at 30 FPS, which is higher actually, surprisingly. But yeah, I might... No, it's still stuttering. Paris is very heavy. Here's... I think that's the Tour Eiffel. Okay, the Tour. Let's go to the Tour. I said I wanted to compare Notre Dame to the Cathedral of New York. Now that would require actually knowing where Notre Dame is, but I guess at least Notre Dame will be marked on this goddamn incomplete map. We can also go and check Google if needed this time, it's not an helicopter. You can really see the shape of the buildings. It is very typical of Paris, with the inner courtyard that is shaped like that, fairly encompassing and also quite large compared to buildings with inner courtyards in Italy, where we do have this kind of architecture, but it's less big, it's smaller. This is a weird one. I think I actually googled this one. I don't remember the name, maybe the map could help us. The stepped building, you can see there. If I could manage to zoom, and maybe I should be able to, but I'm going to crash. Too late. Let me try and fly over it again. I mean, look at that thing. It's stepped, it's like a staircase. This is time compress, anzi time decompress. Harvest the Tribunal. Ah, it's the Tribunal. It's the Tribunal of Paris. It's the... what's the name of the Tribunal in English? The place where law is administered, where you have the judge. It's the Tribunal. I think it's called the Tribunal in English. So yeah, it's shaped like a staircase for some reason. Might be even symbolic, perhaps a metaphor. All these avenues and these fields again. The thing about spots, they're easy to find in this game. Like, you really tend to notice how some places are full of golf courses in Flight Simulator. Around Tokyo, where I flew yesterday, or it was the day before yesterday, around Tokyo you have a lot of these snaking landscapey things where you're supposed to play the game. The links, case in point, the links for playing golf. Not something you see so often in Europe. It's a popular enough sport, but not as much as it could be. This radio call wasn't for me. I'm not flying Air France. Here's the Glass Palace. Well, I don't know if it's the Glass Palace properly said. No, the Glass Palace is in London, but it's a very similar structure. It's the Grand Palais. Same thing, more or less, but in France. Oh, check out that neoclassical thing. That's the... It's a church, apparently. Église de la Marchienne. I wouldn't try to pronounce too many French words. It would be not very prudent on my part. This is another cool place to fly. A lot of landmarks. Let me name the famous church. It's Montmartre. Okay. I should have known it from the get-go, but I had to check the map to make sure. It's Montmartre. Surprisingly, performance for Paris is worse than... but I know why it is. Yeah, I finally got to it. I actually raised the details. It wasn't a very good idea. Let me put them like they were. Such a demanding game. And also maybe Terran Vector lower it. Object level certainly lower it. You see how it is. No, it's kind of a shame. Such a good looking game, you have to lower the details to the extreme, but the experience of playing it in VR more than makes for it in my opinion. And yeah, it's no longer stuttering. Let's do something extremely reckless. Close to the Montmartre bell tower like this. Maybe you cannot tell when you're not the one piloting, but the flight model for this thing is kind of finicky. It's extremely easy to lose control, just because it's so sensitive. Like, I push the stick to the left, look what it does. The rolling speed is crazy. It's an acrobatic plane. Makes sense. We should try and fly to the tour eventually. It's kind of mandatory. This is another important one. It's not the Grand Palais because it's over there. And we are speaking about the... I don't know. And it's too late now. Where the heck is the mouse pointer? Yeah, because I checked the details. Well, it's gone too far now. I don't want to go back. I don't care that much. This is a very straight and narrow. Let's take the straight and narrow road. Use the force, look! Use the force. There is no weak point at the end of the avenue. I will go backwards. Up in the sky, yeah. Yeah, you have the tour and the promenade in front of it. I should know the name of this. It's the Trocadero. Why am I pronouncing it like a guy from Texas? It's the Trocadero. I think you can fly underneath. I think. I'm not 100% sure. Of course, in the old... Speaking here, in the old flight simulator you could. Here, it tends to be disappointing, so I wouldn't try. I mean, an helicopter tour of the city is cool enough, but sometimes with the plane you see more. It's faster. Cathedral de Saint-Louis de Invalides. It's the Invalides, okay, where Napoleon is buried. Somewhere in there. I think it's a museum. It used to be an hospital, now it's a museum. It's got to be huge, it's like the Vatican Museum in terms of size. And well, Paris is a city that is built on an axis. If you move from here and follow the main road, you're going to see all the monuments one after the other. Of course, it's the other way around. Maybe this is not the correct avenue. Let me try and understand the layout of the city, because the place I'm thinking of is the one that ends up in La Défense, no? The district where you have all the big buildings. The big skyscrapers, because Paris, compared to the Italian cities, it does have some skyscrapers. They just had them built all in the same district, La Défense, case in point. And it should be in that direction, I think. So that's the idea, basically, of the axis that I was speaking about. If I fly towards La Défense, we should meet the Arc de Triomphe. I think, I don't know, what's all this? I think there's way too much greenery there. What happened to the... Perhaps they messed up with the last update, I don't know. The cities look weird. Is it possible that they have like the Black Forest in the middle of Paris? I'm not sure. Ah no, here's the arch. And it's not in an axis, because that wasn't the axis. But the idea stands. This thing is enormous. Like, as a Roman, a person from Rome, I tended to think it was like the triumph arches that we have in Rome, the ancient ones, actually, from the time of the Romans, but this is like 10 times the size. It's a building, basically. You can fly underneath it, I think. We will try these crazier things in the end, because I'm afraid the game will make me crash, even if in theory it would be possible. Yeah, the other big arch of La Défense is over there. No, I don't remember the name of the building, but it's a very famous one, shaped like case in point, an arch. I'm sure it will let me fly underneath it. It would be too much if it didn't. And once again, I am compelled to fly like in the Death Star. Check this out. Yeah, so the thing I was speaking about, the arch-shaped one, whose name we will soon know, is actually the source of criticism. I won't fly underneath, I don't trust the game. It's the arch de la Défense. No, I don't know the pronunciation for the French word, and therefore I won't try. The arch de la Défense. There is a controversy to this building, the blocky arch thing, about the marble squares that they use as a paneling for the facade. Basically, they're falling off, whether you believe it or not. They're falling off with thunderous booming fury. You can imagine the kind of impacts they have on the ground below. My god, this airport is annoying. I'm speaking here, I'm streaming. No, yeah, as I said, basically they fall off. Let's see if we can make one fall off by flying underneath. Eventually, I do have to try it. I'd actually been there once in my life. I was very little though. I scarcely remember it. Wow, it's stuttering badly now. I do remember the building though. It's kind of distinctive, isn't it? There's an elevator, there's a panoramic elevator inside, and apparently a parametric roof wiry thing. No, okay, you could fly on it. You could fly on it. This is interesting, a bit heavy looking. Look at that. This looks like something out of Star Wars. It's the Tour Alicante. I think this is fairly recent. I'm not acquainted with the building's shape. My god, the performance is abysmal. Is this a cemetery? I tend to think it's a cemetery when I see all these greyish shades intersecting one another. Stadium here. And yeah, we can fly underneath the Arch de la Défense once again, and back to the tour. It's a circuit, so to say. Too bad we didn't find anyone else doing it. It can quickly turn into a race. It's the multiplayer from this game. It can be interesting if you find the right people to play with. Especially if you turn on the developer console and start switching around. My god, I have to go to a different frequency, so we no longer hear this annoying... Yeah, go to a smaller airport, tune to the tower of this. Oh, sound silence. There were like 10,000 planes in 10 square meters, of course it's going to be chatty. It serves a purpose in real life, but this is a game, so why hear it? Sometimes you even have the billboards on buildings. I think it stems from the way they rendered the city by using actual photographs, so it tends to capture everything, including the billboards. Let's go over there. I have no familiarity with that part of town where I see the big cylindrical skyscraper. That looks a bit tall. Is that a real one? Looks almost too tall to be there. It's no longer stuttering. It depends on where you're flying, basically. Or in a more, in a less demanding part of, geometrically speaking, of the city. So I definitely want to see the name of that building. Slow down the time. The Paris Tour Montparnasse. Okay, it actually exists. Apparently it's the tallest skyscraper in Paris. Not the second one, the second tallest skyscraper in Paris. And it looks just as bad in real life. Wow, that's terrible. Why did they have it built like that? It's completely out of context, like the monolith from Space Odyssey. Completely dark. Wow. Doesn't really fit the context. I mean, big buildings are in general pretty cool, but this is actually straining to be the exception, in my opinion. It's not an interesting design either. It's very blocky, simple. Down in the tree channel. Phew. No, not too much. I don't think that's a player. There is a lack of players today. For Paris, you tend to have more. Let's check the map and see what's farther on this direction. There is a little airport where I could land. It's not like I'll be streaming for much longer. You have to see, you have to understand it's kind of busy period for me. Longer streams will be difficult. Let's go to the airfield and see what's there. I didn't have to change the weather for Paris, apparently. Or maybe it never got changed. Because I had selected... No, but they restarted the flight, so it's actually the true weather of Paris currently. It's sunny over there. Where's this airport? I don't think it's very detailed in the game. Should be that way. I can only see it on the map. This brings back memories from War Thunder, where airports are strangely difficult to spot. Yeah, we completely lack the rendering of buildings too. What's this? We're in a strange part of town. Is that supposed to be the landing strip? No. Excuse me, sir. Ah, it's this one. Okay, no. We're back at Charles de Gaulle, am I wrong? No, it's Orly. It's the airport Orly. It's not Charles de Gaulle. Ah, okay, so a different airport of Paris, another important one, fairly famous one. Look at the quantity of planes. What is the... Could it be because maybe they're all going to the Charles coronation ceremony of tomorrow? There's a lot of planes. I've never seen so many planes in Flight Simulator over a single airport. Many of these are not real players, they are actual flights taking off, but strangely enough they are all currently being rendered in the game, so it tends to give this crowded look to the place. Pretty cool sound when flying over, it really renders correctly the way you would hear it. Yeah, again, phew! One, two, three, four. My god. That's a player, let me check him out. Bigger leader. He's the bigger of them leaders. I'll land close to him, so we can perhaps greet one another as a last act of the stream. Let's try not to stall this thing. No flaps, no landing gear that you can retract. This is a very easy plane to set up for landing. You just land. You are bigger leader. What's he flying? Same thing as me. No, it's a different one. Yeah! Now kiss. Whoa! Gotta be careful. It's very easy to plant your nose in the ground. Let's go to that guy and kiss him goodbye. Row 623, 220. My god, the planets. Yeah, Tokyo drifting now. Yeah, no! Okay, overdid it. Well, it's an ending, not the best ending, but there you have it. And thanks for watching. I will post this video on my YouTube channel as previously on a better quality if you want to watch. Bye bye.